Music has always been more than background noise in Karolina Protsenko's world. It has been the structure of her emotional life and the lens through which she understands everything around her. Born on October 3, 2008 in Kiev, Ukraine, she grew up in a household where sound was constant and meaningful. Her parents, both musicians, filled their home with rehearsals, instruments, and spontaneous performances that made music feel like a natural language rather than a skill to be learned. Even as a toddler, she showed an unusual sensitivity to melody, rhythm, and expression, often reacting more deeply to music than to ordinary conversation. That early sensitivity would later become the foundation of her artistic identity. When her family moved to the United States in 2015, she was only 6 years old, adjusting to a new culture, language, and environment. In that transition, music became a stabilizing force. She began formal violin training soon after, quickly standing out not just for technical ability, but for emotional depth. Teachers noticed that she didn't just play notes correctly, she told stories through them. Every piece she learned seemed to pass through her imagination before reaching the instrument. This blend of discipline and instinct shaped the beginning of a journey that would eventually extend far beyond classrooms and practice rooms, setting the stage for a life defined by performance, connection, and global attention. The beginnings of a street performer in Santa Monica. The turning point in Karolina's early development came during her childhood years in Santa Monica, where she began performing in public spaces, particularly along the busy 3rd Street Promenade. At around 9 years old, she stepped into an environment that many trained musicians never experience: the unpredictability of live street performance. Unlike rehearsed recitals, the sidewalk demanded adaptability, confidence, and the ability to hold attention in the middle of noise, movement, and distraction. For her, it became a stage where music met real life directly. She performed recognizable songs, blending classical technique with modern pop arrangements. This fusion made her performances immediately accessible to diverse audiences. Passers-by who might not typically stop for violin music found themselves drawn in by familiar melodies transformed through her instrument. Her presence also mattered. She performed with visible joy, often smiling while playing, swaying with the rhythm, and reacting emotionally to the music in real time. That authenticity created a powerful connection with audiences. Her parents initially approached public performances cautiously, concerned about exposure and pressure. However, witnessing the positive impact she had on listeners shifted their perspective. Crowds gathered, phones came out, and applause became frequent. What started as informal busking gradually evolved into something more structured and meaningful. Without fully realizing it, she was building not only performance experience but also an early global audience. The moment attention transformed into recognition. As her street performances continued, something subtle but significant began to happen. Attention turned into recognition. People were no longer just stopping by, they were returning, recording her performances, and sharing them online. The emotional clarity in her playing became her defining trait. She wasn't simply reproducing melodies, she was reshaping them into expressive narratives that felt personal and immediate. This emotional clarity allowed her performances to transcend location and reach audiences far beyond Santa Monica. Her interpretations of popular songs resonated particularly strongly. By reimagining contemporary music through violin, she created a bridge between classical instrumentation and modern listening culture. Viewers often described her performances as unexpectedly emotional, even for familiar songs they had heard countless times before. This ability to reframe the familiar made her content highly shareable and visually compelling. Over time, her growing online presence turned into a structured creative output. Higher quality recordings, better audio production, and thoughtful presentation elevated her work from street performance documentation to curated musical storytelling. Collaborations with videographers and musicians further refined her artistic image. The transformation was gradual but undeniable. She was no longer just a young street performer, but an emerging digital-era musician whose work could circulate globally within hours. Expanding collaborations and musical experimentation. As her visibility increased, Karolina began collaborating with other musicians, which significantly expanded her artistic range. One of the most notable creative partnerships involved Italian saxophonist Daniele Vitale, whose style complemented her violin in unexpected ways. Together, they explored arrangements that blended classical phrasing with jazz and pop influences, producing performances that felt both structured and improvisational. Their rendition of songs such as Shallow from A Star is Born showcased a deep musical dialogue between violin and saxophone. Rather than competing for attention, the instruments responded to each other, creating a layered emotional experience. This dynamic allowed audiences to hear familiar songs in a completely new way. The chemistry between the performers was not theatrical but musical, built on timing, listening, and mutual responsiveness. Another widely appreciated performance style involved energetic reinterpretations of pop hits like Dance Monkey and emotionally driven pieces such as, quote, Another Love. In these performances, Karolina demonstrated versatility, moving effortlessly between high-energy rhythms and slow, expressive passages. Each collaboration reinforced the idea that her artistry was not limited to genre or tradition. Instead, it was rooted in adaptability and emotional interpretation, allowing her to move fluidly across musical styles while maintaining a distinct personal identity. Digital presence and the building of a global audience. As her performances gained momentum online, Karolina's digital presence evolved into a major part of her artistic identity. Her content spread across multiple platforms, reaching audiences in different regions and cultures. This global reach was not accidental. It was the result of consistent uploads, emotionally engaging performances, and a growing community of listeners who connected with her interpretations. Her music became widely available across streaming services such as Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music, allowing audiences to experience her work beyond video formats. This accessibility helped her transition from visual performance artist to recorded musician with a lasting catalog. Many listeners discovered her through viral videos and then followed her into longer-term listening habits. What distinguished her online presence was consistency. Rather than relying on a single viral moment, she built a steady flow of performances that maintained audience interest. Each new release carried familiarity while still offering something fresh. Over time, she developed a recognizable artistic identity, expressive violin interpretations of global hits, performed with emotional clarity and technical precision. This combination allowed her to maintain relevance in a fast-moving digital landscape where attention often shifts quickly. Recognition through major media appearances and opportunities. As her reputation grew, Karolina began receiving opportunities that marked her transition from online performer to widely recognized young musician. One of the most significant moments in her early public career was her appearance on the talk show hosted by Ellen DeGeneres. During this appearance, she performed a violin rendition of Sunflower by Post Malone. The performance highlighted her ability to translate modern pop music into emotionally expressive instrumental form, captivating both the studio audience and viewers at home. The appearance also symbolized a broader validation of her work. She was presented with a custom violin as a gesture recognizing her talent and potential. This moment marked a shift in how she was perceived publicly, from a viral street performer to a young artist with mainstream recognition and professional acknowledgement. Such opportunities also reinforced her confidence and expanded her creative aspirations. Being featured on widely viewed platforms allowed her to reach audiences who may not have encountered her street performances or online videos. It also demonstrated how digital-era musicians can transition into traditional media spaces without losing their original identity or artistic style. Collaborations with young vocal talent and stage synergy. Another important phase in Karolina's journey involved collaborations with young vocalists, most notably her performance alongside Angelica Hale. Their joint performances created a dynamic blend of vocal power and instrumental expression, particularly in renditions such as Symphony by Clean Bandit featuring Zara Larsson. These collaborations were significant because they highlighted her ability to adapt to live vocal energy while maintaining the expressive independence of her instrument. Rather than serving as background accompaniment, her violin interacted with the vocal line, echoing emotion and enhancing intensity. This created a layered performance experience that felt both cohesive and expansive. Audiences responded strongly to the chemistry between performers. The shared youthfulness, combined with professional-level execution, made the performances feel both inspiring and accessible. These collaborations also reinforced her reputation as a flexible artist capable of engaging with different musical personalities while maintaining her own distinct voice within the performance structure. Influence beyond performance and the inspiration of learning. Beyond public performances and collaborations, Karolina's influence extends into education and inspiration. Many young aspiring musicians have cited her performances as the reason they began learning violin. This ripple effect demonstrates how visibility in digital spaces can translate into real-world artistic motivation. Her approach makes classical instruments feel approachable rather than intimidating. In many cases, viewers who had no prior musical training reported feeling encouraged to start learning after watching her performances. The combination of emotional expression and technical clarity makes her music feel achievable in spirit, even if not immediately replicable in skill. This psychological accessibility plays a major role in her influence. Her impact is also visible in the way audiences interpret music. Songs that might normally be associated with lyrics and vocals gain new emotional depth when presented through her violin arrangements. This shift in perception helps listeners appreciate instrumentation in a more focused way. In this sense, her work does more than entertain, it reshapes how people experience familiar music. Reflection on growth, visibility, and artistic identity. As her journey continues, Karolina's development reflects the evolving nature of modern musicianship. She exists at the intersection of traditional training and digital performance culture. This dual identity allows her to maintain technical discipline while also adapting to the demands of online audiences. Her growth demonstrates how musicians today can build careers outside conventional pathways. Her artistic identity is shaped by consistency, emotional transparency, and adaptability. Rather than focusing on a single genre or direction, she explores a wide range of musical styles, from classical pieces to contemporary pop reinterpretations. This openness keeps her work dynamic while preserving a recognizable emotional signature. At the same time, her visibility brings complexity. Public attention, expectations, and creative pressure are natural aspects of sustained recognition. Yet her work continues to reflect a focus on expression rather than performance for its own sake. This balance between visibility and authenticity remains central to her artistic presence. The evolving silence, public curiosity, and the reality behind online narratives. As Karolina Protsenko's visibility changed over time, a familiar pattern emerged that often surrounds young performers who grow up in public view. Moments of reduced posting or shifting focus tend to generate speculation far beyond what the reality actually supports. In her case, much of the online discussion has been shaped less by confirmed events and more by audience interpretation of absence. This is a common effect in digital culture, where consistent uploads are sometimes assumed to represent constant activity, and any pause is read as a dramatic turning point. The result is a cycle where curiosity fills the gaps left by ordinary life transitions such as education, personal development, or changes in creative direction. In reality, artists who begin very young often go through natural phases of recalibration. Interests expand, schedules evolve, and priorities shift between performance, learning, and personal growth. What can appear externally as, quote, disappearance is frequently a quieter period of adjustment rather than an ending or mystery. For someone who has built an audience from childhood, this balance becomes even more important, as maintaining both individuality and public expectation is not simple. Over time, the focus often moves from constant visibility to more intentional creation. In that sense, the silence people talk about is rarely an absence of music, but rather a different rhythm of life unfolding away from the immediate gaze of an audience. A continuing journey shaped by music and connection, Karolina Protsenko's journey is ultimately not defined by a single moment, collaboration, or platform, but by continuity. From early childhood exposure to music in Ukraine to street performances in Santa Monica and global digital recognition, her path reflects a steady expansion of both skill and influence. Each stage of her development builds upon the last, creating a layered artistic identity grounded in emotion and connection. Her story also reflects the broader evolution of music in the digital age, where performances can travel instantly and reach audiences across continents. Yet at its core, her work remains simple in purpose, to communicate feeling through sound. Whether performed in a busy street or recorded for millions online, that intention remains consistent. As her journey progresses, she continues to explore new musical directions, collaborations, and creative possibilities. While the future remains open, her foundation is already clear: a deep connection to music as expression, communication, and shared experience.